Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Automation Happy Hour. I am your host, Jonathan Lipps, and not just your host, but really the only thing that you get to see this whole time, so apologies there. What are we going to do this week? I didn't really get any suggestions for what to automate this week. Oh, I should also say I'm standing up this week instead of sitting in my chair. So if I just move around, apologies. I have to kind of fidget while I stand. Trying to just sit on my butt all day long. Happy Friday. This week I'm drinking this blue beverage. People are yelling outside my office. Oh. Kids these days. This blue beverage is kombucha. That's my happy hour drink today is kombucha. Blue kombucha. Apparently it has sea creatures in it of some kind. Probably more like algae, but I call it sea creatures. Makes it sound more exciting. Yeah, so let's find something to automate. Here's what I think we should do this week. I think it would be fun to automate an iOS device. This is my phone here. An app that I sometimes use is called Weather. Check the weather. Here's a bunch of the cities that I've either spent time visiting or lived in, and I'm just kind of curious what's going on with weather sometimes. Usually, obviously, I'm just looking at the weather for the place that I currently am. Seems like it might be a kind of interesting app to automate. I haven't tried to look inside of it yet, but it's very visual. There is text. There are numbers and things like that, but there's also a bunch of icons. So I'm kind of curious to see if we can work with those in any way. There's also moving backgrounds. Might be a challenge. Or, some of these cities are experiencing daylight hours right now. Some of them, like this one, it's nighttime. So if we do work with images, how will our test script be aware of potentially different colored backgrounds? Not sure if we'll need to worry about that or not. First, we need to actually try and see if we can launch the app using Appium. So I've started out some capabilities. That's the only thing I've done. Basically took some other iOS capabilities we had, copied them. Since we're using a real device, we need to, it was just most convenient for me to just build WebDriver agent ahead of time. So I'm using pre-built WebDriver agent, and I have the derived data path set to my Xcode project's derived data path. So this is nice because WebDriver agent's already built. It already runs on my phone, at least I hope it does. And we won't need to wait for Appium to build it, which could take a long time, especially when I'm streaming. So let's write a basically empty test script and see if we can launch the weather application. I'm just going to go ahead and close it first of all. That. There we go. And we need to make our test suite aware of this app. How do we do that? Well, we have this PyTest fixture called make driver. So I'm just gonna say if the app is called weather, then return the capabilities, weather iOS capabilities there. So now if we look at the last test we did, that was YouTube, wasn't it? Last week. We can copy a bunch of stuff to help ourselves start things up. and we'll create a test. We'll call this test iOS weather.py. So things that we're going to need. I'm gonna rename this to test iOS weather. Not sure what we're going to test exactly. Maybe, I don't know. Just call it test weather for now. And the type is test iOS weather, of course. And then we get the make driver function as a PyTest, from PyTest, because we have it set up as a PyTest fixture. So now we can basically just say we want the weather app. And when this test method is done, the fixture is set up in such a way that driver.quit will be called, so we don't need to worry about doing that ourselves. Just trying to make sure I've got my chat up here. So yeah, you can always put questions or comments in the chat. Let me know if you're watching, where you're watching the stream from, and what are your weekend plans? How's summer going? And whatever you want to say that will show up in public at random places on the internet, feel free. I keep it clean, obviously. Okay, so let's try this. I do have an Appium server running. I'm running Appium 2.0. I'm actually still in the middle of just doing a bunch of stuff on Appium 2.0. Not all of it works, but you can see, actually I've been working on the Appium 2.0's plugin system. So actually I have a plugin installed. I didn't activate it though, which is good because it's a plugin that just messes with command responses, so it would not serve any purpose for this stream. You should be able to just run pytest test iOS weather.py, and hopefully we see Appium do something. No. Yes. However, oh, unfortunate. Since I was doing a bunch of work with Appium 2.0, we don't actually have the XCUI test driver installed because I'm constantly installing and uninstalling drivers. That means we need to install the XCUI test driver. The reason that's kind of a bummer is that installing this driver apparently uses a lot of CPU and network, getting stuff back and forth from NPM. And I don't want us to sit and waste our time watching that spin, but that is what we're going to do. So apologies there. Why don't we talk about something else? We could talk about this week's Appium Pro article. Did you know you can, if you go to appiumpro.com, make this bigger, you can always go to latest, and that will do a nice redirect to the latest edition of Appium Pro. Checking out who's on the stream. Hey, what's up, Gopi and Mario? Welcome. This article was actually inspired by one of our earlier Automation Happy Hour episodes, episode 6, where we had to tap this portion of text. And so we needed a special helper to tap an element at a certain location in the element. So we made that. So that was this week's article, if you haven't read it. Or was it last week? I forget. Anyway, it's the most recent one that I've written. We are still installing. We're listening to some music that I wrote. I try to put the music of different, or the title of the music we are listening to on the stream at the bottom. Last week I played some music from some friends of mine. This week I was feeling lazy. I didn't have time to look for new music that I knew wouldn't get me get my videos taken down. So I just put on some of my instrumental music that I made. Actually wrote this music for a tech conference, or some kind of conference, mostly tech conference I was going to speak at. I had to bail. but I had the music already written, so that's what we're listening to at the moment. We have a question from YouTube viewer Gopi, who asks, what's the difference between the capabilities Bootstrap Path, Agent Path, and Derived Data Path? Bootstrap Path was for the older iOS driver and should not be used at all anymore with XUI test driver. Trying to remember what Agent Path was. Not quite sure. Derived Data Path. So Derived Data Path works in combination. Where were we? We want conf test.py. If we look at an example of derived data path right here, it works in conjunction with use pre-built WDA. It basically tells Appium where to find that pre-built WDA. Typically when you build Xcode projects, the outputs get dumped into this derived data folder. Don't ask me why. That's an Xcode thing. Hopefully that was helpful. Anyway, now we've got our XUI test driver installed, so we can run Appium again. Maybe. Okay. It's running. And now we can run our PyTest command again and hopefully see something better happen. Okay, we are trying to use our pre-built WDA. Now I'm hoping that I haven't upgraded my phone or anything since the last time I ran this script. I don't think that I have. It's always possible. Okay, we're polling and waiting for WebDriver agent. Oh, that's not good. Make sure I was using the correct derived data path. Yeah, that's the right one. Maybe I should make sure that WebDriver agent is uninstalled. All these other random apps are. I don't think I have WebDriver agent on there anymore. Guess one thing I can also do is load up this project in Xcode. Here's my custom WebDriver agent project where I believe I have set the signing and everything correctly. I can try and just build it in Xcode itself. Oh, got my little break reminder app on. Should probably close that so we don't sit here for several minutes. Okay. WebDriver agent runner. And let's try and run that on the device. I might have actually upgraded Xcode in between the last time I started to run. Man, XUI test on real devices, WebDriver agent always making my life difficult. Any more questions while we are waiting for this to build? Looking back at the chat. Yes, Gopi, that's correct. For real devices on... for iOS real devices, we just need derived data path if you're using a pre-built WebDriver agent. Oh no, we've got lots and lots more tasks here to build. It's gonna take forever. I am going to just gonna briefly put us back into the waiting room and see if that speeds this up at all, because that might be better. Let me just hold on, I'll be right back. Didn't really make things that much faster. So I guess we're stuck with this. Well, what else could we talk about? Any interesting automation news this week? Anybody learned? I've been working on developing a course for Hespin University that was originally planned to just kind of teach people about Appium and Selenium basics, but realized that I definitely want it to be accessible to folks that might not even have some programming experience yet, so ended up writing a basic how to learn Python programming module as part of it, and that was a lot of fun. Moving on to other aspects of it now, but yeah, super excited about this course. We're working on getting it finished and released as soon as we can. Definitely be some big announcements when we have our new learning platform and the new course out. But if you haven't signed up for Hespin University yet, please make sure to do that so you get all of the notifications. I think I've sent a grand total of maybe 0 emails to the mailing list, so it's definitely not spammy. Promise. Mario from Twitch is asking what programs I use to make music. I would open that up and show you if I thought that it wouldn't slow down my computer, but I think that it will probably slow things down. I use an app called Logic on Mac. Most of the music that I write is, recorded from acoustic instruments, or I guess electric instruments like electric guitars and stuff like that. So for that, I just, I have this microphone here and some other recording equipment. But the music you're listening to right now was all essentially synthesized. So I just have a keyboard and use any number of different synths and drum samples and things like that to put together songs. It's a lot of fun. I want to do some more of that. I've been doing almost entirely acoustic music recently, but I'm kind of craving like some nice fat synth sounds. Been listening to this style of music called it's called like retro wave synth, or maybe like new retro synth. Anyway, it's basically like if you imagine all the synth sounds from the 80s, from 80s pop music, just made a little bit more modern and fat and tasty, and then add some kind of more modern pop sensibility to it. Anyway, some really good stuff. I don't know, it's just because I grew up in the 80s and it just reminds me of old times, but it's a lot of fun. Anyway, it's a whole genre. All these different things are coming back. There's all these like little niches of musical tastes that are out there. It's kind of fun. So anyway, that's what I used to write music with. Logic's a good program. It's not cheap, but I just had to pay for it once, and Apple keeps updating it, pretty frequently with good features. So it's basically like GarageBand, but they're I'm getting a phone call. Yeah, basically like GarageBand, but it's just a little bit more advanced. We're getting there. On our last 20 tasks out of 420. I wonder if it's because I upgraded Xcode versions in here. Makes sense that I might need to rebuild WebDriver agent. Wish I could. There's probably a way to see some log output of what's happening. Not debugging. There you go. Signing. Okay, now we're building the actual runner app. I should probably find a way to make my streaming software fewer frames or something like that. Okay, so that build succeeded. So, okay, I'm gonna quit Xcode. And then, here's the derived data path, I believe. AVSF, is that the right one? I thought ours was a bit different. No, it is AVSF, there we go. So, if we just want to kind of list this directory. Make sure it has a modified time of July 17th, that's today. Let's see, build was last modified June 17th. That doesn't seem right. Well, maybe it's in index. Oh, you'd think it would be in build. build/products/debug iPhone OS. Okay, yeah, WebDriver agent lib.framework and the runner last built today. So we know we have a fresh build. Let's give this another go. Also just gonna use my explicit UDID instead of the auto just to make sure that we're picking up the actual device for sure. Okay. All right. Launching WebDriver agent. Running Xcode build test without building. That's because we're not wanting to build it anymore, which is good. So let's see if it works this time. No. It's very odd. Well, today's automation happy hour might be turning into a debugging WebDriver agent not so happy hour. Pretty much the definition of unhappy hour. Unable to connect to test manager, could not connect to the device. That's odd. I just want to make sure that I can see my device in Xcode. Oh. This is a problem. My device could not be made ready for development. Not sure what let me unplug it and plug it back in. Oh, I also have connect via network checked because I was doing some debugging with Safari earlier today, but probably don't want to have that checked if we want it to connect as a physical device. Aha. So now we don't have this error that we had before. I wonder if that was the problem. Delete that other installed app there. Okay. Let's try this again. Maybe we can talk to the device this time. Nope. Underlying error could not connect to the device still. Trying to think. Can I? I'm actually just going to restart my phone. Surprised that we're still seeing a screen on here. So turn the phone off, but the screen is black, but maybe it's actually still. Okay, I unplug it, it goes away. Okay, plug it back in and turn it on. Okay. Let's see. Xcode says failed to prepare device for development. Okay, making it ready for development. If I just open WebDriver agent, I could try and run it on the device myself. I'm going to try and run WebDriver agent for WebDriver agent runner for testing. That should actually get it on the device. Hopefully it doesn't have to like actually rebuild everything. That would be not worth the time. Oh, sweet. Build succeeded. Okay. Now it's performing install actions. And it got on the device. You can see down here. So that's progress. And I think it actually is running the test at the moment, but all that WebDriver agent does when it runs is it just opens up a test and opens up a server within the test, I should say. So it will never complete. So I'm going to go ahead and complete it for us. But anyway, now we have WDA on the device. So let's give this another go. I also wonder if the iProxy process is having problems here. Oh, sweet. Okay. All right, 40 minutes into it, we have the app launching. Sorry for all of that BS there. Okay, now that we know we can launch the app, I think it'd be a good idea to open up Appium Desktop, see what there is to see inside the app. So to do that, let's copy some capabilities here. That we can just paste into Appium Desktop. Open up a new inspector window. Guess I need a faster computer. Okay, delete a bunch of these things that we don't need. Pro. Query, WebDriver agent. Command timeout we can delete as well. Okay, so most important thing here is the bundle ID column.apple.weather. We'll save this as iOS weather device. Let's try and start this up. Great. There's the screen. What do we have in here? Ooh, we've got actual elements. And not just elements, but elements that have names and images. So this whole element here looks like it's got names that kind of wrap up the names of the elements within it. So there's one that has the name 4 p.m. And then there's an image, and then the text 21 degrees. So this actually seems pretty automatable. Some clever XPath we could find the icon. Now we do just get an image. We don't have like a textual summary of what this means. Obviously it means sunny, but oh no, it does. It says mostly clear in here. So actually, if we wanted, we could just, find the hourly forecast view, find all of the cell children, and parse the data here. That would be an interesting way to validate data on this view. What about for days? Yep, daily forecasts. Same. Looks like it's just one special element, but at least the name has all the things that you might care about. Interesting. So the next thing, oh yeah, so there's actually a bunch of stuff down below. So if I go down here, that's where all this other stuff is that we were seeing. Details and so on. Now, what if we wanted to actually try and look at our list of... It's getting hidden by this scroll bar. Edit cities. We do have an edit cities button. Oh wow, it's got a nice big hitbox here. Can we tap that? Yep. So here's all the cities. And so they have the city name, time, and degrees. Now if we wanted to add a city, we'd have to scroll down. Yeah, so there's London. Actually, Seattle is the last one in my view, so that's not making it in here at the moment. I'm wondering if we just have direct access to this add button. No. Don't. What if I scroll down and refresh? We do have add city. So we could go through a flow of adding a city and verifying it, and then checking its weather, something like that. Could be interesting. And then see, I guess we could create some kind of swipe and then remove the city. Okay, so it's kind of, I don't know how far we'll get today, but let's start building out a little test flow. So go back to our test iOS weather.py file. So because we're not installing the application, we don't always know which view we're going to end up on when we open up the app, unless we kill the app and then relaunch it. I think we did that somewhere else. Was it Craigslist? No. Was it Zoom? No. Was it Umail? No, I know. Well, maybe we ended up not needing to do that, and so I took it out. I feel like there was code that terminated the application and then restarted it to make sure that we get in a clear spot. So let's try that. It might just be driver dot terminate app Apple weather, and then driver dot activate app. Just kind of curious if this will actually do anything that we want. So here's the problem I'm thinking of, right? Like, we're starting a test. We want to maybe make sure that we start on this view. This is like the default view that you start on. But if I happen to have gone to this view and I'm just somewhere else on the device and I go back to the weather app, it's still on that view. I'm hoping that if we terminate the app, then go back to it. Oh wow, it actually really remembers where we were. So terminating isn't actually going to help us out. Might have to have some conditional logic to determine what page we're on. Oh, that's making me tired. Well, since our test flow is actually going to be adding a city, checking its weather, and then removing it, we do kind of want to start on this view. So I'll just make sure that we're in this view at the moment, and then we'll add it to do. Okay. Anyway, but we're gonna need page objects, obviously. So let's create a new directory called pages/weather. And the first view we want to work with is, we'll call it city list page, py, class city list page, and this is going to extend base page. So I'm going to open up, I think that's just actually from pages import base page. That's all we need to do there. And so with the things that we want to do on the city list page would be, for example, open weather for city, and it takes a string name. We could also add a city, name of the city, or maybe we should say search text, and then like, what is the text we want to start typing to find the city in the drop down, but then we also want the text to tap on, right? Call it found text. And then remove city. I think that probably will take a name as well. Okay. Oh, yeah, so open weather for city takes us to the view of the weather, which is a different view. So let's make that one. Pages/weather/weather page. So weather page being, like this one. What could we do here? I guess we could get hourly weather report. We could get daily weather report. I mean, this could just come back as some kind of Python dictionary of actual data we could use for our evaluations. And, we could get other types of information down here as well. Probably don't want to get all of it at the moment. So we'll just, as an example, which could be generalized, get sunrise. So now I think we have Oh, well now we have to add it. These page objects that we've created. Pages dot weather dot weather page import weather page, and from pages dot weather dot city list page import city list page. So now if we go back to our city list page, we can also import weather page from here and open weather page. Open weather for city will now return weather page dot instance self dot driver. So it returns an instance of the weather page. So let's give that a little bit more life here. So city page equals, actually import it. Page is import. City list page instance driver. So first thing we wanted to do was city page add city, right? So for that we need a search text and the found text. So what city do we want to add? Something I don't already have in my list, I suppose. Add the city where I was born, Phoenix. And so ideally we wouldn't need to type all the text, just type the beginning. And then the found text, we don't know what exactly it will look like, but I'm assuming it'll just be the full name of the city like this. Open weather for city, Phoenix. And then we can, this actually results in a weather page, right? So then we can say the hourly weather was weather page dot get hourly weather. And we can assert something about it. Not sure what. Maybe that it's showing hours of the day that are after the current one. Something like that. That would be a good test. Daily weather. And then sunrise. We could even assert that it's, you know, within a minute of being correct by consulting a sunrise lookup table API somewhere on the internet and check for Phoenix. But we'll just leave those as to-dos for now. Then I guess from the weather page, we can also, something we forgot to do is we can go back to the city view. Open city list. And basically we want to return a city list page from that, but it would be a circular import. There's a way to do this. Thought there was a way to do this where we import. Which app did we do this with before? Do we never import typing? Or maybe it's... right, from typing import type checking, right? So if we're type checking, we also want to import city list page, and then we can just return it as this here. And we really import it here. We can't import it above because it would generate a circular import. The city list page also imports this one. But now we can return city list page instance self.driver. Cool. We go back to our test. We can once again say city page equals weather page dot open city list, and then we wanted to remove a city like this, remove Phoenix. Just replace all those. So we can change cities. And it really doesn't hurt to do the whole thing, but why don't we just say we'll do all of the city name except for the last character. That way we give some of the autocomplete a little bit of work to do. Test that a little bit as well. Okay, so we haven't implemented any of this, but it'd be a good idea to run it anyway. To do that, we'll have to end our Appium session here. So we'll just see this up, it'll just give us any Python errors that we might have made in this whole framework. Module pages has no attribute city list page iOS. Right, that's because the default is Android, so we actually need to right. This always bites me in the rear end. We really need both. Doesn't really matter where I put this here. And then weather page should also do the same thing. This is because our page object instance generator generates different pages depending on whether we're iOS or Android, and we decided to make Android the default so we don't put any suffix on the Android class, but we do on the iOS class. And here we're just working with one platform, so it doesn't really matter where I put the actual logic as long as I have it named. So I think I probably have to initialize it here as well. Now, if this were a cross-platform app, we could then go and fill out both the iOS and Android page object models, but we don't really have to do that. Anyway, it was great to get this little Python code issue out of the way before moving on to things that take a lot more time. Okay, our test passed, which means our page object models are stubbed out correctly. Now we actually just have to do the work of filling them out by automating the application using Appium Desktop, figure out selectors and things like that. But because we've spent a whole hour doing this already, I think I'm gonna reserve that for next time. We're at a really great stopping place. Basically, next time we just have to come in and fill all the stuff out. So once again, sorry for all the startup issues here. Some combination of potentially Xcode upgrades that I'd done, or my phone needing to be restarted. Not entirely sure what the ultimate problem was. At least I don't remember. It was so long ago. Anyway, hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope you join me next week. We can make more progress on the weather app. A very interesting app to automate, apparently, according to me. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next time. Bye.